Good day. This is Brett Johnson with OneMedRadio in New York City. Today we are with Jim Laufenberg, who is the Chief Executive Officer of ImmunoGenetix, a Lenexa-based, Kansas-based firm that's developed vaccine treatments for HIV called GenePro. Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Brett, for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about GenePro and where you are in its development?
Yes. GenePro is a therapeutic DNA-based composition that we have taken out of the University of Kansas by an inventor that was recruited there from Johns Hopkins, Dr. Upendra Narayan. He was well published and received over $20 million in NIH funding towards this composition. We have published in the non-human primate, and we've had our meeting, initial pre-IND meeting with the Food and Drug Administration, and we're engaging in that process. So we're rather teed up on a number of exciting things to move forward now to open up our IND. And what we need to complete now are 2 IND-enabling studies. And we're using a delivery device called the Tri-Grid electroporation delivery. So we're partnering with iCore Medical Systems in San Diego. And most of the developers in DNA vaccines are looking at electroporation to enhance the uptake of this molecule. Mm-hmm. We anticipate, doing our obviously safety, toxicology, and some immunogenicity data going forward. And if everything goes according to plan, we'll open our IND next year to initiate a phase 1/2A clinical trial in HIV positive. Yep.
So what does GenePro do, and what is it? What problem does it solve?
Well, currently, HIV is being treated by antiretroviral therapy and known as drug cocktails. So there's about a dozen drugs that clinicians use, and they manipulate these drugs, and they'll use 3 or 4 at any given time in their HIV-positive patients. And unfortunately, these drugs are starting to show resistance being developed. And 1 out of 4 patients will develop drug resistance to one of those drugs, and also some very untoward side effects, such as increased fat and sugar in the bloodstream. So they're, while they have been somewhat of a godsend in treating HIV from developing in AIDS over the past decade, there is an unmet need to have new approaches. DNA vaccines and GenePro have the promise of reconstituting the immune system so that our natural immune defenses can find this virus, attack it, and bring it down. And we can talk a little bit about some very recent findings around what are called elite controllers, if you'd like to get into that, Brett.
Sure. If you can give us sort of a layman's description of how this stuff works, that'd be fine.
Mm-hmm. So what happens is that there's a white blood cell that will attack viruses as they enter our body. And in HIV, we just can't we don't do a very good job of detecting that virus. But there's a small population in society that can normally suppress this virus, and they're called elite controllers or long-term non-progressors. Well, these elite controllers, about 3% of the population, generate this very specific white blood cell called a CD8 memory cell, specific to HIV, and they can actually control this virus without having drugs on board. And that recently was found and published in a reputable journal. We have published data both in the mouse model and as well as the macaque rhesus model, showing that we generate this specific type of white blood cell, the CD8 memory cell, so that we can this GenePro can actually find the virus, take it down to undetectable levels, and then allow these memory cells to lay low in case that virus reappears. It's very exciting work. There's a lot of language going on right now saying that this is a functional cure, and the industry in the area of HIV and AIDS is focused on these functional cures, such as what the potential that GenePro has.
Sounds very exciting. So where did the technology come from, and can you tell us a bit about the background on the science?
Well, yes, the technology came from the University of Kansas Viral Pathogenesis Lab. Its director was Dr. Upendra Narayan. He's now deceased. He was affectionately known as Bill. And Bill was widely published, over 150 peer-reviewed journal articles, and again, substantial funding from the NIH through a series of R01 grants. And this vaccine essentially has been passaged through various animal models, rendering it relatively safe. It is, it's the idea with GenePro is that what we want to do is synthetically mimic the virus. Phil, that's very important, so that there's an effective stimulation of the immune system, a natural stimulation of the immune system. So therefore, it's a rather aggressive composition with 7 genes representing this virus, and a series of genes that are deleted or left off, so that GenePro does not cause safety issues such as integration into the body itself.
I see. So in terms of getting this to the market now, where are you at in the development of this product?
Right. So we're completing what we hope is the remaining IND-enabling studies in rat and rabbit, and hopefully opening an IND about this time next year to enter into a phase 1/2A clinical trial in 30 to 40 HIV-positive patients. We'd like to hold that trial close by at the University of Kansas, if possible, so that we can recruit locally, but also receive some economic development grants, and also support with the National Institutes of Health. Therefore, we would obtain both safety data in man and efficacy data somewhere in the time frame of the end of 2013, if everything goes according to plan. What we hope to do during that process is to attract enough attention from industry to provide partnership capabilities to move forward after that point.
Terrific. Can you talk about the corporate side in terms of investment that's gone into the company and who's invested and how much you're looking to raise in the future?
Right. So, Brett, we have a very clean cap table consisting of accredited high net worth angel investors, and that's all in common stock, voting stock. And that's about half of our cap table. The other half of our cap table is economic development convertible notes. And we have a small preferred Series A stock that actually can be bought out. So, again, that's a relatively clean cap table with a pre-money valuation of $8 million based upon fully diluted share at $1 a share.
Mm-hmm. And you like to raise how much?
Yeah, currently we're concluding a $1 million round. We have, in addition to that, we have matching about $500,000 that was announced from the Kansas Bioscience Authority, and that's a non-dilutive grant for this developmental activity, and these are pre-IND activities right now. And in the state of Kansas, we can use transferable Kansas Angel tax credits for high net worth individuals who invest between $50,000 to $100,000. They actually get a 50% tax credit. For those that are high net worth individuals that are out of the state of Kansas, there's actually a market for those tax credits. So it's really a great way to influence development of unique technology in the state of Kansas, and that's why we're in Kansas. Then when we go out to San Francisco, in January, we will be launching a $5 million round in order to anticipate our phase 1/2A clinical trial.
Perfect. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and the other members of the management team?
Right. So we have a small board of directors. There are 5 of us, and I share that. My background is a business background. I have an MBA. I had 25 years at Marion Laboratories in its iterations. Now it's Sanofi Aventis. The other members of our board are all industry-specific individual, deep experience. We have an entrepreneur out in San Francisco, Dr. Bill Garner, who has Harvard training. He's launched a number of companies, and he provides really good scientific advice as well. And the other members of our board have finance, legal, and foundation and human resource. The most important thing I can say about our board is that we're all on the same page. We understand our exit points and our mission to have a return for our investors with an appropriate exit.
Terrific. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the scope of this opportunity and what the possibilities could be for GenePro?
Right. Brett, the promise of GenePro technology and DNA vaccines generally is that they can change the way these diseases are treated in a safer approach. Specific to GenePro, we would anticipate a clinician being able to put their patients on GenePro, delivered on a quarterly basis in the clinic, much like oncology drugs are delivered. And then as the patients are monitored with viral load and a different type of white blood cell, CD4 measured, they could provide drug holidays for their patients on these toxic drug cocktails. As clinicians gain experience with GenePro, they could delay the onset usage of the drug cocktails as well. And I think clinicians would really welcome that type of flexibility. And of course, what that also could do by allowing a reduction in current standard of care drug therapy, you could more than likely reduce the overall cost of health care.
Well, certainly that would be something welcome in this day and age. That is Jim Laufenberg, who is the CEO of ImmunoGenetix, a Lenexa, Kansas private firm that has developed GenePro, an interesting treatment for HIV. Thanks very much for joining us today, Jim.
Thank you, Brett. Have a great day.